Morning, everyone. Okay. So we hit Mario's target overnight to 5380. We need to see if we can get back into this node. This is going to be really important to be able to get back over this box here, guys. If we are unable to do that, we're going to be in a world of hurt. This is going to be a failure at the bottom of our range, and we will continue down. So I'm really watching to see if 380s can hold here. And of course, our resistance above for short term is this like 416, 420. But if we go below 380, fully expecting us to come in, retest this clock here into this like 57 to 49. Yeah, 10 where I'd be looking. So really just worried about these two areas here. Actually, mark. Can we get over 16s? Or do we push and fail, go below 380s? Kind of like the only levels that I really things to watch out for when we do gap downs in the morning is watch names that have gapped down that have influence on the overall market and watch to see what they do if we do push above the open. We want to see them bounce and hold, and we want to watch basically that reaction here at our opening candle to see if we can hold that as supportive. And we also, if we do go for gap fills, we want to watch as we push into this gap what happens. You can see pretty solid rejections off of these. I'm just looking at XLF here as an example. Same thing with XLE. Can we bounce here at our opening candle and push for gap fill? And then from our gap fill, do we then reject and make a new low? Or can we get back into the previous range for continuation up? Those are really important things to look for in the morning, these gaps. Microsoft incredibly weak, pushing very mixed market. But XLF and XLE are both trying to hold value high right now and are opening candle. So should have an understanding if we're going to be able to continue on at least short term relatively soon. But again, like this 380, just really watch that on ES. He's gonna be so mad that we did that overnight. Morning still. 5 seconds until the 15s. We're at our 30-second range low on ES and U. Muscle is rotating ticks around our VWAP in a downtrend across the board. Let's see if we can break that and get back over, or if we're going to get some continuation down. You guys heard the spot this morning? I wasn't on when they announced reorder month over month durable goods, so I don't. They should have also announced market on open at 9. Yeah, I mean, those are different. 30-second opening range holding so far on ES and Q. Watching our reaction here on this low. It's our 380. Also still has some room down. Watching 116.4 on that. Stay open. Watch our ETH lows on ES and NQ for slight relief bounces. Then we'd look for retests for continuation down. I'm not taking a trade until I see our reaction here, Russell. POC shift test here and our day open on RTY. See if buy side gives us a slight relief bounce for an short. Yes. Looking for ADR as our target. Yes. It's where we expect buy side. If this doesn't hold, we should just expect continuation down. Again, just like we talked about on chart here, this is our target for our secondary move. It's 57. So what we're watching for now is how do we react on this VPOC test? Do we find buy side, or are we going to start rotating down into this 14? Pretty important test here to let us know this is going down into this next node. Find buyers here to just retest us back up to 30. Yes. Immediate bounce so far. The next target here at NQ into 420 or ADR low. We're watching to see if we get a continuation now on ES, like we've run out here. I'd like to see some sort of a rejection if you're going to continue lower. Same thing for the Russell. I want to see day open in here. Value down into the lows. Russell hit PT and immediately bounced with the rest of the market. Watching to see how we react here. 21, kind of your first resistance, and then 44 is above that for NQ. Waiting for Russell to find a loss of momentum here. Ideally, into our previous low day open. Looks like we have drawn out. What we're going to be watching for. Same thing with our VPOC. Yes, or sorry, ES here at 57s. Watch that, and 44s running key. Side will be there if anywhere. Not, then we should rotate back up to Q. 44 stone hold. Bar holding. Immediate rejection off of our day open. Bye. There's no way that that bot didn't just say that. Again, I said, but they should have said that. Our perfect rejection off of our 57 area on ES to see if we break these higher lows. Russell still rejecting our day open. Change there. Second opening range holding is resistant. assume if 76 holds, we go up to ETH low here at 508 on NQ. Also, a really nice bid. Need to break this downtrend still, but we've got a bit of pressure here now. You can see that POC is attempting to shift here. Again, for RTY, we need to see us get back over this 30-second range. If this just continues to act as resistance, there's really no here. Should be a pretty good indication if we're going to be able to break the downtrend. Sell side still just sitting here. Same as before, this 57 to 61 on yes, sellers sitting to make this supportive, get back into value. Just expect this down. Same thing again for here. Again, this has to be your first target on NQ or ETH low. See our reaction now off of this. Can we get back over our overnight low, or do we continue this resistance? I think if we can make 508 supportive, should be able to come up to 43s. Gotta look for sellers here. Minute 40 until new 15s. Flagging so far into our close to our new 15s. 15 seconds until it's open. We're looking for either a look over 508s or a push down into this like 76. Either one is bullish. Push below and hold is going great. Just rotate down to this node. Want to see a look over if we are going to continue. Just expect this to reject and on. Just watching to see if bids can now hold here. Edge. Basically, like last attempt area where you see buyers. And again, we need 508. For edge here. Good first risk off if you are playing off that 76. See that look above and hold. 43. 7 still holding is pretty hard resistance here. And yes, so back over 30-second open range. We got a hold of our 508s, but then failed. Back down to our 76 now. Again, very important. Failure there and offer flipping is just going to do a portion of this. Really want to see buyer interaction still capable of holding. Expect just more of the same. Down. Again, if we lose this 76, look for bid there. Bid doesn't hold there, then it's just a full rotation all the way soon. Yes, holding resistance still. Perfect. Watching our halfway back here on the Russell. Watching 52s for any sort of relief. Need to get back over 70s. Resting into previous 50-minute POC here at 52. Again, we either see bids be able to maintain or we start to rotate down back down to the lows. Down to bottom range here on ES off our failure. Full pathing now played off of this test into 57s, rejection, and then lower high. Need to see if we can break below value or if we're just going to continue to rotate this. NQ 47 still really just our pivot, or sorry, 52 to 44 still just really our pivot. Lots of two-sided trading going on there. Watching to see if sellers can now hold us below for this rotation down into 69, or if we can recover it and then push back over 76. That's really all I'm seeing here. Either this offer now holding, down into this low, or the ability to pop and push to become supportive side. We have 3 stacked POCs here. Very important. Pushing to our 76s. See if we can get over this time. Failure at 44s is going to NQ. Again, really would like to see this like 40 hold bid and put for actual conversion, or it's just going to be more the same. Fifteens opening in seconds. Endure 76s again off of a hold of 44s. Again, need to get over this, so this needs to be at least half your risk off. He's opening now. half here in 96 for one more lift if we get it. And our ETH low. So far, really great hold at 44s though. Just a little bit off of 76. Pushing into target now. ETH low. Beauty. That's $1,000 per contract. I don't understand how you guys didn't play that. It's crazy. You didn't hear me? Yeah, that's a good place to exit. See if ETH low can now hold for the last leg up into 43s, but that's about it. Yeah, hold of 44s. We have 3 stacked POCs there. 76 is our breakout level. ETH low above. Let's look at our pathing. 44s hold or buy side interaction.
Good morning and happy Friday, guys. What's going on?
Friday morning. Surely, Bruce, no, you're good, man. But please ask questions. That sucks that you didn't catch that.
I might go long Russell here.
So, is energy just going to continue weighing us down? That's my only concern. We can get back over. I think it could be decent. XLE is just like in free fall.
Yeah, materials, consumer discretionary, retail, biotech, tech, energy. The best performing one today is real estate, actually.
Just
Intel down 27%.
those poor people.
I know. My sweet AMD is the only one that's green out of all the semis today.
His next target here on NQ, guys. Yeah, I got it. I held, yes, 44s. And then pushed up, and then I sold into 508. I'm not in this last leg, but this is next target. But even from my average, just playing off of the 40s into 508 was $1,000 per. For now, we've now held our ETH low, and we've now traded into VWAP. We'll see if we get anything more. This to me makes sense as like a hard resistance. I think Russell is a good trade if we can get back over 118. But you've got to get over your 30-second opening range for anything more. This will just be our resistance again. Same thing for ES. Want to see 61. It's really 62s go supportive here, just like before. Or expect sell side to be sitting on our reoffer. Waiting to see if we can get some continuation here.
Right now, the implied range into close today is plus minus about 60 points from the current price on SPX. So that's about 6 points on SPY. Nice. Russell popping back up. I'm just going to scalp it. I'm not going to be greedy here.
Yeah, I mean, I think you've got room over 118, but
Yeah, I do. I know. I just,
we gotta get there.
yeah. I know how days like today go. Like you can get those crazy view recoveries in the close where you
Mm-hmm.
like 50% retracement intraday, which is insane. And on ZRDTEs like today, you can make like 1,000% return. Whenever I made 35 cents.
I think this
Not
is
bad.
where we look for the bounce at 110.
Yeah.
Holds here or value fails, right? It's value at low edge. That's my guess would be we look bounce here and then look to see if we can make a secondary failure. Just gonna rotate down. Expansion. Basically this on RTY.
I just exited A&D for scalp again as well. I got a feeling it's going to break back to 140 pretty fast, though. Maybe not today, but next week.
Are those the AMD from yesterday?
The A&D from yesterday are for August 16th, so 2 weeks out.
Are you still in those?
Yeah, I'm still in those yet.
Okay.
Yeah, I would have gotten stopped out if I didn't get my average cost down by scalping yesterday. So,
Got it.
because right now they're about 67, 68 cents or so.
Yeah.
I just know that historically, and these opportunities come like once a year really, or once every couple of years. Whenever I exit for a loss or for a small gain, I usually get a reversal to the upside, and then I miss out on a nice big gain. So I'm trying to be patient with those butterflies.
Yeah.
But I'm scalping like 0 days right now on the pullbacks to like 133 area, 134 area, and just grabbing like 30, 40 cents each time. And that's reducing my cost basis on my butterflies. All right, I'm out of Russell too. Yeah. If I get fortunate enough to go back in longs on AMD again, if we pull back one more time.
Yeah, I mean, if we can hold this like 109, 110, I'm not mad at it. I'm not trying again. Too weak. Gotta wait for the Russell to stop falling. You can see like I only caught half this move, but it's playing off of where we start to look to see if we get a new low across the board. ES and RTY retesting our bottom here. ES needs to do this double bottom here at 36s. We're watching to see if we can hold our value low on Russell and ES. Any looks below, you want to see immediately bought and then pushed off of if we're going to continue to rotate in this range. If these fail and we rotate below and then we reject, stronger continuation down. And then, ES and QRTY. So speaking is hard. So really just watching to see how we interact here. Can we hold our value lows, or do they go resistance for those? Again, like if Russell doesn't hold here at this like 5, I expect us to come down to 97. Big tests. 50 seconds until new 15s. I don't really see anything actionable right now. It's just ES and Russell that have better setups. 44s stay offer, right? Like that'll be a good sign of a shift where buyers are no longer there and sellers are, right? So like there can be something, but we're just waiting. Two names. It'll be important though, like if again sell side is now holding this, that makes sense for us to then down to like. If we can recover this, I expect then these sellers to be trapped off sides and see if buyers above 50. This would be first target off of rejection of 44s for NQ, just into our PVC low and our value low. Again, like if we can push below this and hold, expect us to go to 69. Right, we're looking something like this, secondary like that. Just be very careful into this value low, the area. Russell still holding our low, ES still holding. We see how like that 44 is our offer now from where it was our bid. Need to get through that seller and show that buy side's willing to transact above again, or that just has to be where you risk off. It is a pivot. Very clear shift. It's already Friday. This week flew. Weekend plans? I think so. Catch up on some sleep. Been averaging about 4.5 hours every day this week. Not good. What about you? Any plans? What are you watching? Feel good? I think the finale might be tonight, sir, or this weekend, surf. So yeah, definitely good to catch up for Sunday. Either one more episode or two more. I'm not sure. I have ETH on my footprint, but I keep them off on my main charts because I don't find it incredibly useful. Um, Mario has ETH on his Globex on his regular charts. I keep ETH on because I care about today's structure a lot more. I mark the overnight low and high wise, but other than that, I don't really pay attention to much else. I like to trade when there's lots of volume, and I care about where those people are transacting. And most volume is done during the Chicago session. So I really just focus on what's happening now more so than anything else. I don't think it's a bad thing, but you're going to get very different levels by working off of ETH compared to RTH. So I think if you were going to do anything, I would split your profile between Globex and RTH session, and you should be just fine if you want to see like the difference of like where transactions occurring. Personally, I don't find it incredibly helpful. I think if you were going to do anything, having a Globex VWAP and an RTH VWAP is probably all you need, just to see where like the average was for both sessions, average price. But it's really a personal thing. I just find it kind of noisy. I like being able to open my charts every day and have a clean profile to play off of and see how positioning's occurring from our open. But again, it's all personal preference. If you have a trading strategy that relies on trading off of Globex interactions, then of course you have your Globex on. I don't. I personally expect gaps to get filled from overnight, so I have it off so that I can visualize those gaps, because that's part of my trading strategy for opens. Only time I'll leave ETH on wise is if I traded the ETH session. So if I've done like an all-nighter, or if I woke up for like London session specifically, and I'm familiar with the price action and the levels, and I was watching the tape as it was coming in, then I'll pay attention. But other than that, I have it off. So some days you'll see that like ETH will be on still, and it's because I was trading overnight. Today is not one of those days. Try to only trade what I'm familiar with. We are so stuck here. When does that new Zack Snyder fight come out? Is that today? I heard it was even worse than the previous version, which is funny. Series. Oh, August 2nd. Yeah, it comes out today. I'll watch that this weekend. Really nice bid off of the failure for sellers to hold. They're getting squeezed. Russell was able to hold our low at 1025. ES again also able to hold. Just looking for like rotations back up to our seller here. I don't expect continuation off of this move until we see a active bid stepping in. This just looks like a squeeze to me. Want to see a secondary move for any sort of action. Russell to target into our POC shift. Need to be able to see a bid above this. 1150, or expect sell side to continue to hold there. If we do get a secondary leg, I'd be looking for 53.75. But don't see secondary buyers yet. So just expecting this to kind of basically come right back down. Seeing as it was a short squeeze. I think we just look for interactions at 50, 40 to 50 here now. Like this yellow box. Can we see if buyers are now present? I think that should be our cue. Let us know if we can get continuation. I want to see if these sellers are now off sides and if buyers are willing to interact. Be my guess. Watching for our interaction here into 1150 on RTY. Again, that is our resistance. As long as the Russell still has momentum, we should be able to at least start like slow grinding up. But if we lose it, then that's that. Cinnamon Toast Crunch syrup. Yeesh. So here's our test. See if buy side's going to interact with us. I'm gonna see if we can now hold this yellow box again. Like this 44 to 52, really important. If these buying deltas are gonna hold. Immediate bid so far. You can move stops to break even. You need to be able to get back over 76, just like last time. This is just a scalp. Again, 76, first risk off as we push into it, unless we can make it supportive. Got to break the downtrend. Fifteens have opened. Testing our 76 now. Yeah, like it just doesn't need to be more complicated than that. We just wait for the short to fully reverse after not seeing an active buyer interact into our level, the same place we took our trade last time. And good. You can see what that looks like here. Right? Like not worried about the squeeze, just looking for our pullback and our setup. Trading into our level. That's $500. Not worried about anything else. If we get a secondary leg, awesome. Oh wow, Chevron's moving to Texas as well. Ditching California. Yikes. Yeah, I think that's what we were watching for. See if we can hold the low on RTY and then bid here now on this look over 76. Russell catches the low at the bottom, right? You're looking for that oscillation. Back up should give you steam for another test or highs. Might be a bit choppy here on NQ while we wait for Russell to figure out if he can hold low. That would be what I would be looking for. A higher low. Russell coming down into the bottom. Need momentum. I'm flat off of that trade that I posted. Just waiting now. There are two kinds of scalps that I'm pretty comfortable with, and one is just like the a pullback off of a squeeze, just coming back down to the level pre-squeeze, and then look for active buyers to start participating if we don't see secondaries, right? So like we have basically people getting having big force liquidated, right? Like they're getting closed, they're having to close their shorts, and we're getting a chain reaction off of that that's pushing price up, but we're not seeing like active market participants on the buy side who want to continue that price action. So all we're doing is rotating back down, which makes for a really good trade for a first attempt into an area. And I'll take those kind of interactions a lot because it's just our level where sellers were, and now we're looking for very clear buyer reactions. And this that's one of the trades I really like to take because it's very clear in setup. And the second ones are just looking for like our value retests, right? Same thing where like we overextend and then we look back into a level value equation, or like a look over and then we look for that secondary attempt into our value high edge, and then we look down. Like those are like probably my two primary scalps that I take. They're more discretionary. Other than that, then it's just like waiting for something to actually show on foot. This is Russell coming into our low. We'll see if we have a shift or if buyers step in again. For that, you want to see a reclaim of this level, 103.10, and then a pop back up. For this, fully expect this to come down into our pH low. So wait for us to recover this and then bid, and then you should be able to get a long opportunity if it was going to happen. Right, just a look below value, recovery, and because we either recover our current range or it rejects our current range, and then these buyers are offsides, and then we expect that next move down. Right, so really important that we're able to then get this secondary above value low. And just as before, like on NQ, like 44 to 52 is where you're looking for that offer to be now, unless we can recover it. Right, we want to see something like this happen, or expect sell side to be sitting here for rotations back down to like 408. The beauty of a pivot when we find like these very active buying and selling levels, just play either direction. So you can see like This might be an interesting thing for some of you, but just like waiting for the same levels to play again. Like you see my trades today have been at the exact same place now. Scroll. I don't really see a reason for this reaction so far, so I didn't touch it. Seems a bit overextended. Russell was able to hold. We'll look for a secondary test. Not really seeing what I want to see for NQI side. This will be important. Let us know if hold value is supportive of Russell for a secondary move. Watching this 81, see if bids can hold there on NQ. About as far down as I'd want it to go. It's 76.81. Just gonna mark. I think if that fails, then it's just a rotation again. Yeah, like I just don't like this is the only buyer that I see until we come all the way back down. So if this doesn't hold, that just feels like it'll be fully retraced. You can see them interacting so far, pretty weak. Just watch that 81 on offer now. We're gonna hold for lower lows, lower highs. Need a recovery of that buyer, or they're just gonna be offside and this will be absorption. I personally am not transacting here. But this is where you'd be looking for a secondary move down. The 76 to 81 now holds. Bit too noisy for me right now. We have 2 minutes until new 15. I need some coffee. Oof. Tired. Mm, I'm only a fan of like iced coffee if it's like a cold press or like a toddy. Like if it's like a toddy cold brew, like I'll go with that for cold. Other than that, then hot. It's got to be pretty concentrated for me to enjoy iced coffee, or it just feels super watered down with the ice. Yeah, I'm not. We recover ETH low and can like bid off of it, there's something. But until then, it just looks really choppy, really noisy, and not a lot of actual deltas to play off of. Yeah, I closed as well, sir. I reopened a 1 DT yesterday, and I closed this morning as soon as I woke up. Those were even up like 200, but still feels bad. I should have just held. This is target here in 75. I don't expect we need to see for any more upside. We need to see the Russell over our 118s, and we need to see uh ES over our 57s. Yeah, I know, man. Feels bad. Feels pretty bad. If we can make 60s supportive, I fully expect us to be able to rotate up to 611. So really paying attention to how we react here. The sell side hold with our Russell move into resistance. Again, this has been our resistance every attempt so far. Want to see this go supportive like this. And we're at our POC shift here on yes. For NQ, I'd really like to see 60s. I'll look over 60 and then a bid up. Yeah, like still waiting for an active buyer here. We'd like to see buyers step in. Russell will find this low off of our rejection of our 30-second opening range. We want to see the ability to build out this node where we're starting to look though. We're either able to now build here, right? Or we're going to rotate back through our previous range. Really looking to see if this node can build out and if we can build for that final pop. If the Russell doesn't have momentum and we reject here, it's going to be very tough to get any sort of expansion. But if we can start to actually build this out, I'm not mad to start looking for looking for a secondary moves where like we are value high supportive. Good. We wanted that push over 80s. Gonna mark that. That secondary move should slick our pathing. We can build. Watching our value edge here on retest. Now hold it as supportive. That's the idea. See pretty active buyers stepping in here. Or we have to rotate back down to where they were previously, down at this 50 to 58. We're not going to be able to get that information until we see this supportive. So just back to our buyers here, bottom front, 50, 58. Up to here, just into our most recent highs. Still looking for a full extension. But if we don't hold 80s, then I pop out. This first target, I could see us pulling back to, if we don't see a pretty significant bid here, just over. We want to see this become supportive. We can now hold this edge. We can start rotating up through this range. If this doesn't hold, then I expect us to have to come back down to our 80. This is basically 1,000 right here. That hold of our lows. Russell testing our pivot here into 118, top of our 36 range. Really big deal if we get this. ES has room 76 here. I'm out on NQ waiting for a better hold. Get this bid again. I fully at least a retest of this edge, right? As supportive from a look above and 40, 64. Our range. Just got to see if yes and I can now hold for continuation. Again, this is like NQ target, so waiting now for a secondary look while we wait for ES and RTY to kind of figure their shit out. Pullbacks should be seen at 80. See buyers interacting. If we continue to reject at our like this. we want to see buyers. I'm gonna delete this pathing now that it's fully. Let's look to see if we get a secondary move. We now hold our POC from the pre. Really important buyers here. This POC test. So far, no interaction. So we have to watch it for offer now. Any failure into 8084 is just going to result in down to POC. Look for bids to step in over 84s for continue. Be very aware of this edge now. So looks good. If we can get back over this 18 in the bid, holding our 30 seconds so far. NQ rejecting, need to get over 84s. Need. I want to see this rotate and bid like this. We're going to go higher for NQ. We need to get back over this guy, or buyers are offsides, back inside value for positions down. If I said to now really pay attention to this offer. This is the end. It's over, man. All over. Did stream end there? May have. My internet just went out for a second. We good? Okay. So far holding. Need to make this 84 supportive here. Really important. Set all my charts. Sucks. That just seems like a weird coincidence. Unless my internet is also controlling all of trading. Is mine fine? Yeah, mine's a very good sign when we start to get those kind of issues. Price action kind of sucks here. We're getting another stacked POC. Still holding our pullback zone into a 40 to 55, but until we can see like a bid really actually will take into our 30-second opening range, it's going to be pretty ugly on NQ. Russell and ES both looking much better setup wise. Again, want to see us break over value here for a push back up to 76. So far, our pivot is holding on both NQ and ES. But we're just again waiting on Russell to be able to bid in our 30-second open. For NQ, this has to be your first risk off on any longs that you've taken from either our secondary hold or our primary. We need to see the ability to build in our 30-second and is key for us to have any sort of expansion. Key. So same as before. Can we now hold our highs? It's key. I keep saying that. We need to see the ability. What did I just delete? We need to see the ability to be able to hold value high. Our previous sellers on ES, we need to be able to see Russell holding our previous high. Supportive, that look up. These things can't happen. We're going to continue to get these very choppy, this very choppy price action and then violent rejections.
Comments from Hypothetical speed.
That was. People hear that? Bot? Was it choppy for you guys or? New 15's opening here in like 5 seconds. Really no change in our levels. I am not bullish until we can make pretty support. We're just going to be continuing to do this ring. Well, see, that happened at 5:32 a.m. What happened after he said that? Be the dump stun.
Fairs Goolsby says I've been saying for a long time that we'd never want to overreact to 1 month's data point.
Right, that sounded good. Right?
Goolsby as the job of the central bank is to move in a steady way. Goolsby says we are tight and restrictive. Says if we stay restrictive for too long, we have to think about the employment mandate. Goolsby says if unemployment is going to go up higher than 4.1%, that's the kind of thing the Fed has to respond to. Goolsby says the through line of the data doesn't change based on 1 month's number. And Goolsby says we have been seeing the improvement that we've wanted on inflation.
I do a full session today, or do I leave when Mario gets on? What are we thinking? It is Friday.
Goolsby says I fully understand why markets want to conclude a trend.
Yeah, I mean the trading's been good. It's just let's see where you guys are at.
Goolsby says what will
I'm
determine the
good.
size of rate cut, if there is any action, will be the economic conditions.
I guess we'll see.
Goolsby adding
If
this
anything,
into
I'll
the
take my
inflation
dog out when he
data
gets
between now and the
on,
next
grab a
meeting.
coffee, and then see where we're at. Hopefully we get more. And I hit PT off the first trade, so now I'm just kind of hanging out with you guys. Seeing if we can get this expansion or not.
Goolsby says the trend shows inflation coming down across the board and the labour market cooling. Goolsby says we want the labour market going into better balance. A rate cut size again will be determined by the conditions.
The second day that Rory has been missing, and the market has tanked $3 trillion. Coincidence? market's ability to keep pushing up solely just based off of his NQ. His begging was
Goolsby says it's not a secret that Fed policymakers expect multiple cuts over the next year. Goolsby says, however, when conditions warrant a cut, tends not to be just one.
full range rotation again here on NQ. Complete failure to be able to push over that 12. Every attempt is just rejected. Back to our buyer pullback. Let's see if we see a shift or if buyers can still maintain these lows. If this goes offer, we're in trouble. I think for ES, really careful here. Breaking this range is not great for. So we now watch this on offer, see if we can get back in, or if we're rotating down now. Rotation down seems pretty likely, but I'm gonna give it a minute. ES and RTY still in our zones. So we've gotten a bit of a slight bounce here on ES and RTY. We're now watching to see off this secondary reaction if this fails, right? This is important to let us know if NQ is going to get that new low. Want to see a break of these levels, and then that should lead on NQ. Reminder that Goolsby is still speaking. We're waiting on ES and RTY to figure out if they're going to hold these lower highs or if we can bid from here. Morning, Adam. Don't want to be preemptive on this NQ move because they can get trapped. Your risk needs to be pretty tight, just above 55s if you are trying to short this. I personally think just waiting for ES and RTY to show the similar reaction is probably your spot here. That offer needs to hold that like 40 to 50 area, and we can see that on our delta histogram as well, where we're below. Screenshot this. You see these selling deltas on the right from 40 to like 50? We want to hold that as resistance now. I can bring that up here. That's why we're watching this as our pivot. We are now below this in price, so we're seeing if these sellers can hold below, and then we can reject and then continue down these. If they fail, right, we're going to get a pretty violent move back up. So really important. You play off of that offer, but if we push through, like, you got to get out. 40 seconds until new 15s. Ten seconds. You're playing with a tight stop right over 55s, you're good. We're still fine, but still just chopping, right? There's not a ton here. If we look above, I fully expect us to start to rotate up with ES and Russell being able to hold our pivots. So really need to play with that tight stop from our highs. So do you see how this is actually a great second show from that screenshot? Where did price travel up to? Those selling deltas. You see where that wick went? Right up into the top of them. So like the offer is still holding on this delta histogram. Again, we haven't broken, right? But the sellers are holding where they need to. But if we push over, then we expect pop. Right? It's one of those. I just want to like really point that out. Those the white dotted line is the wick. I know it looks. I'm out one here, short side. We come back down into this node. The node goes resistant, then we should see 508. But until then, just risking off.
So seeing some flow in Fed fund futures here as well. Some buying after the JP Morgan seeing a case for Fed cuts before September. So again, we're seeing some buying in August contracts for Fed funds futures. which is obviously expiring before the scheduled September 18th next Fed meeting. Therefore, buying at these levels for new risk would benefit from additional pricing of an emergency intra-meeting policy move by the Federal Reserve. So again, just seeing some flow in Fed fund futures here is some traders betting that the Federal Reserve may make an emergency interest rate intra-meeting move before the next September meeting. Joining calls by some in JP Morgan who are saying that this is a potential case.
Good area to do your first risk off here into 87s. If you are playing off of the pop over 55s, need to see it push and hold here now at 585. Be able to test 614. We have sell side now off sides. So did I confuse you guys there, or did that make sense? Like having the deltas there and understanding that we get a pop if we get over 55s, having a stop there. If you're trying shorts. Make sense or no? Yeah, right. So here, like I can show you like my trading there. So I flipped from short, tight stop, and then went long on the pushover 55s into target. You have a general practice of when you start to look at the deltas. Well, this was just our pivot where we were looking for buyers before, right? So we know that there's a ton of interaction here, and it's really important that we're able to hold. And so when we start to show a willingness to hold below this level, sell side, and then we see all of these stacked deltas like I depicted above, these two screenshots, we can see how we're interacting, how sell side stacking there, those red deltas on the right. And so like we're either able going to hold those, right? Or it's going to act as our like strong resistance. But as soon as we push through these deltas, then we have the ability to really start to expand over these. And so I'm looking for these guys to then all be off sides and a bid to actively step in above for a push back up. Right. So we're playing off of this 40 to like 55 because we understand that this is where sellers are trying to hold. And if we push above, then we expect a larger move. So if you're trying to short, you play off of that edge high with your stop right above, and we're shorting for that rotation back down. If it doesn't hold, we just go long, right? We've stopped out of our short, and now we're playing the momentum back up. Yeah, it's a key pivot, right? Even without the deltas there, we know this is a key pivot. This has been our pullback pivot. And the reason why are we kind of like worried about shorts there? Well, what happened? ES held, right? Russell held. So if they're not doing that, then what do we have to assume is probably going to happen? That we don't have the momentum to keep us pushing down, right? So we have a idea, because we're holding below our pivot, we have to be slightly bearish here. But if we do pop up and our other names are holding, then we have to play momentum up, because we know that the pressure is to the upside and sellers have failed here. They've failed at the lows. And now we're going to do what? From Mario's setup, what happens in a range if we do a look below and then we re-enter our range? Yeah, right? We rotate through the range. So why are we able to play a momentum play there if we've entered into the range again? Right, this is the momentum setup. We've entered back into where sellers needed to be presiding and they did not. And so we can buy in here looking for the rotation back up. First pivot, right? First risk off is always going to be the middle, but then we're looking for a rotation right back up to our highs. This should be very familiar, right? Either we're going to hold or we're going to rotate. Does that make sense? Hopefully that clarified things for you. Especially when we can like we have a really nice visual of where those sellers are based off of our deltas there. Like that's why it's like a tight stop. You gotta have it. Or you're just going to get screwed because now you're trapped in a short here, and we are now back at the top of our range. Any more questions on that, or are we good? Again, like these squeezy moves, until we see secondary buyers, we just expect them to get retraced. So like coming up to top of range, awesome. You got to see buyers now interacting here at our halfway back, or it's just going to rotate fully down again. So like the 70 now becomes incredibly important, right? It's also our value edge, 70 to 80. And same thing for the Russell. And we hold value high now, supportive. And this continue to bid where these sellers were. That is the question for ES as well. Can we hold value and make ETH low supportive? If so, this should be first PT because we have an LV. So we look for 588. We can, this of course would be first. On a hold our ETH low. But to me, like this rotation's done. There's nothing here now. We see the ability for ES and RTY to now hold for higher. Because this edge has been so clear on NQ that you don't really want to mess with it until we see the ability to show that we can push through, right? We need to see active buyers up here. Did I answer your question, Julian, on YouTube? Hopefully. You might not be familiar with the same setup because you aren't in our Monday classes, but hopefully I answered everyone. Oh, I can show this as well. See the Discord. This is what we screenshot that I showed in chat. So short, closed one, stopped out, longed, closed long. This is a stop from another short that's right here. Same thing, just stopping out right above our 55s. And then it's just playing us down. And then once we push over and show an active bid, I have to go long for the upside. You just have to. That you can see that here with the same thing. Short, short, long. Yeah, it's tough. But like the ability to I think once you define things like we did there, you have something to actually look at because like the DOM is just going to seem like noise to you. And a lot of it is just noise for the most part, but like once you start like really focusing in on individual zones and how price is playing around them, it gets a bit easier because now you're like looking with intent, right? And then that's just screen time, and it doesn't always work, right? Like but the reason why, like you could say that my short failed there, but the acceptance above and me having a stop understanding what could happen allows me to then play the other side of that, right? It's not just like, oh, I'm reversing because price went the opposite direction. It's like, no, we invalidated my short, and so I need to be going long here or waiting until the next setup arrives, right? And to me, like that's more so important, is like understanding what could happen if we do break over 55s and like immediately being willing to invalidate in a way. A lot of people won't be willing to do that, right? They're gonna stay in that rotation looking for it. But like you gotta play with, like, if those guys are off sides, we're gonna punish them heavily there. And there's no reason like you can't just take a short then at the top of a range as well. Like you don't have to change your tune, but you have to know that if seller value hasn't shifted, um, right? Like if sellers can't hold us below where buyers were here, where did they sell last time? Up here, right? So you have to be under the impression that if they can't hold down here, we have to rotate back up here because this is where they were last time, presently, right? Where they were last present. So like if value hasn't shifted, then we go back up to where value was last time. You know what I mean? Like that's got to be your thought process there. And that's why it's so important for these like looks below. If we do get the bid over, we should expect the full rotation because that's just a failure at a value shift. And that makes for some pretty easy and very quick scalps once you get the hang of it. But like the same thing can be said where like if you don't want to take this long, you're just looking for shorts here, right? Right back at our previous value. So like even if you didn't reverse, you're still just watching for sell side to be here. Because nothing's changed. All we did at the lows though is fail. I'd be less inclined to take this short on first attempt here because we have potentially more ammo. I think this secondary attempt is much better because what do we see? We have a failure at the highs in our range. And so we're looking for these guys to now be offsides up here. And then we're looking for a rotation down. So playing the secondary move makes a lot more sense to me if you were going to take a short. How do I have my DOM set up? I mean, it's just a standard DOM. It moves very quickly, but I have it spam. I just it looks like this. You can't. There aren't a lot of settings on Trade Evade for you to mess with things. It does move quickly, but it's just a DOM. I've got a decent amount of width here for the volume profile, and so I can see like the stacking. But other than that, it's just regular. I wish that there was some sort of like auto fitting or tracking. It's the one thing that's I have an issue with on Trade Evade as a platform. That and not showing like MFE and MAE in performance, because that would be really nice to see. I don't know why they don't show that. Oh, sorry, I said MAE and MFE.
Hello, everybody.
I don't. You guys might not be familiar with those terms. What's up, man? That's maximum adverse excursion and maximum favorable excursion. So it's like MFE would tell you the highest price during a long trade and the lowest price, and letting you know like how long you're offside per trade and drawdown. So it's allowing you to like really hone your stops, because you have an understanding of how long you're usually offsides, and how many points of drawdown that's in the. So like here, but like Sierra Charts has it, and a lot of other platforms have it, but none of these like basic trading platforms, they don't show it for some reason. But it'd be really nice to see, because it really helps you refine your strategy by understanding like what kind of risk you should actually be putting on, and what kind of if you can minimize your stops. Yeah. So like if you have like this is why it can help, because it can really refine your strategies. It takes a step out of your journaling, so you don't have to calculate it yourself. I hope that Tradeovate gets it at some point. It'd be really nice. I think it's like one of the one things that these prop firms are missing in their performance center. And just a reminder, like if these moves on NQ are too quick for you to catch, just you don't need to play NQ, right? Like our ES levels have been holding, our Russell levels have been holding. Like there's no shift in those, and so if NQ is still too quick for you, like there's still like just play the other instruments, right? Like you don't need to do it.
I've been playing ES for probably like 60% of my trades, like over the past 2 weeks. Just like really good setups on NQ, and then the rest is ES.
Yeah. Like if we're at a major edge, you might as well just play ES. But like scalping ranges, like if we're boxed in, I play NQ because it's just more points.
I understand, guys, that like this ES like value range is 40 points. Like that's a lot. That is a lot.
Should I be looking for a long off of 550? You can look for longs there, but you need to understand that if we don't see active buyers into this area and immediate bits off of it, we got to look at this as our offer on any sort of retest in if we see a pushback. This is where our buying edge is, but if we do see an offer hit, you need to have a pretty tight stop. So like 5-6 points if you're playing off of 550. I don't think there's anything wrong with it, but because we're trading in a range, right? So like you want to take longs into our range low, you want to take shorts into our range high, but you need to understand that like if this invalidates and we fail to hold our range, you don't look for longs until we can get back in Flacco, and then we can look for rotations back up. But like this is if you were looking for longs anywhere in a range, you want to be trading at your edge low. The issue that we have here right now is that we're doing lower highs with equal lows, and so it's a little indecisive. But the risk is still okay for longs down here off of this 55 to 40. We just have to understand that sell side is attempting to lower the offer with each attempt, right? So your profit target is shorter, right, on each attempt because we have to trade. If we do bounce here, you have to go to where your previous seller was, and that has to be your first risk off. That's how I view it. And then we can hold for the top of the range, but you have to just adjust your risk accordingly to where the previous offer was sitting. I hope that makes sense. Like there's only one thing we know. We know where buyers were previously, and we know where sellers were previously. So like that's what you've got to work off of. And so with that logic, buying where buyers were until they show that they're no longer there is what you have at your disposal. It is what it is. Mario, you might want to answer this. Let's say you have a level of interest, but market begins to chop around it. What do you wait for or try to look for?
If you're chopping at a level of interest, that is a good thing that you're auctioning it, but then you just wait for it to break. Like, I do a lot of times where I have like no trade zones where it's like a pivot that has been responsive, and then it's just like, okay, I need to be above and hold or below and hold, and then that's my trade. Your level of interest means nothing to the auction. It's good when there's confluence, where that we are auctioning a level you have identified, so that means it's still valid, but that doesn't mean that you have a setup there.
Yeah.
So you have to find the setup, which is generally going to be a break of structure out of that area. That's my take.
I mean, it's just to like to add, like you can play it both ways, right? Like you can either be willing to have risk on with a stop, right? And then it's like, okay, I'm in a chopping area. Do I want to have risk on when I know that there isn't an active buyer participating, right? Which is kind of what Mario's getting at. It's like, yeah, we're holding our level, but we're not seeing someone show that they want to push away from said level. And so like waiting for that break of structure can be really important for if you don't want to have size on or have leverage on, right? Risk while we're chopping, just waiting for that structural break. But like if you are confident that buy side's still holding and you're willing to have risk on at a low, right? You just have your stop there and you chill. Like it's really that simple. You just have to be willing to reverse if things don't work out for you and play the opposite reaction. I think personally, like you should just be waiting for like the break though. There's no reason for you to sit in 30 minutes of chop if you can find the same reaction in 1 minute on the break of structure, right? And to me, that's just like going back and reviewing those areas and being like, oh yeah, we did chop down here. The level did hold, but was there a more actionable entry that I could have taken in my review? Right? Like those are the things that are gonna start to like really push you off. Because it's like, oh, okay, yes, like I could have held through this entire thing, but was there a catalyst that allowed us to move? Start analyzing those. I don't know if you have anything else to add.
No. I was just, the last thing I was going to say is a lot of times, like, you spend a lot of time like charting and finding levels of interest, whether it's higher time frame or intraday, and then you kind of like trick your brain into thinking that like, okay, once we return there, that means I have to take a trade. When I think it's much more of a signal of, okay, now I have to pay attention for us to like what market state we're entering once we arrive there,
Yeah.
if any, right? Where it's like, okay, we're gonna have an imbalance here, we're gonna have a balance, or I was wrong.
Yes.
And instead of like going in with the mindset like this is where I'm going to trade, it's a mindset of this is where I'm going to look for a setup to trade,
Yeah.
and just that little like personal language switch. Um, and those who like watch, the streams or see the charts posted, that's why Sig and I use like zones so much. Like, yes, are there like definitive levels? Of course, but it's much more of a zone because it's like, are we above or below this, and are we supporting it or rejecting it or neither? And those are all different trade opportunities within the same area of interest. Because we can't tell the future and we don't know what's going to happen, right? We can just look for areas where probable things will happen,
Yeah.
or it's probable for things to happen.
And I think this area right here is a perfect example of that, where it's like we're looking to see if sell side can hold below this 40 to 55. But if we push over, we need to be understanding like that these guys are now off sides and our directional thesis is wrong and that we're going to rotate back up. Right. And so like I'm willing to be actionable here, looking for that new low. But if that new low doesn't happen, I have to be willing to be like, okay, no, it's these guys are offsides. I have to have my stop above, and I have to be looking for longs for the rotation up, which is what we did, right? It's a zone. It can't just be a singular level. Sometimes our levels are really solid and things do play off of them quite well, right? And that's just from like looking at reactions off Dom. But like having a zone like this and then looking for either the ability to like hold below or above and then watching for activity to me is how I usually get most of my trades that are discretionary. I don't know if that answered your question, Julian. It's never as simple as just like A or B kind of thing. It's just screen time and understanding like zones for me are where I start paying attention. And we start to watch for either a break or a hold and then seeing how like buyers or sellers are interacting at that level. Because again, like we know that this is where buyers and sellers were previously, right? We know this is where the bid is, this is where the auction was, but like that can shift, right? But these now allow us to, instead of looking for longs and shorts in the middle of this range, to only be looking for actionable setups at these edges. And it's like, yes, you can always interact at an edge and you might be right 50% of the time, and you can still probably make money with that just by buying and selling at these edges. But you can increase that win rate over 50% very easily by having by having secondary conditions when we are into these edges, right? And that's what gives you, your 60-70% win rate, because now you have a arm signal, right? Which is like you want to be armed here, you want to be ready, but then you have to have a trigger to make it actionable. And that's how you're gonna like really start to like refine your win rate and your trading. I'm gonna AFK for like 5 minutes and grab coffee now that you're here.
Yeah, you're good.
Just gonna put all my charts on auto. All right, I will be right back.
average test here, all three indices. This is a lower low NQ through the LVN on all three indices here. Now, if we find any responsive bids in the structure we're testing into, it's much clearer on RTY ES. We just look for another trade back through the LVN and then a lower high. No bid here, and you should expect nodes to oscillate below. I should put ES towards like 50, another 10 points here. NQ just comes down into this like 455 structure, 457. Russell towards 2114. This 2120 on RTY is pretty important, higher time frame. I did post a chart in intraday ideas to kind of highlight it, but we've been talking about it for a very long time. Smart sauce. Yeah, I think, well, me and Sig talked about this just a little bit last night, but yesterday was weird just because of the, like, such a lack of bid and how trained everyone is to look for that, at least a little lift even on sell days. I think being patient is not a bad move. No bid on the edge NQ coming in middle of node. Again, any acceleration here. We're looking for 450s. Any bid we look for lower high on either edge of LVN for continuation. Very good. Very good, Patel. A little bit of an underlying chicken here as we're making this like test down into lower structure. Microsoft came into value low, really tight balance day so far on that. Generally, when these Microsoft tight balance days, we'll see an afternoon directional move away, but that should maintain. Nvidia down into VWAP with these tests down into structure. Tesla value low, and Apple testing breakout. It's not a huge breakout. Apple actually cleaned up like a lot of VPOC tests yesterday and today, and this cleaned up one to the upside through the gap. Obviously, we had earnings yesterday, which were good, but we will see if we lift here. The more of the story is all underlines are trading into important pivots as we got that structural test on NQ and Russell. This is your LVN test on both NQ and Russell once again. ES can probably come up into 67, but I would much more be looking at Russell NQ here for your pressure, just because structure is quite a bit better. $15 here till turn of hour. New 15s, new 30s, the whole shebang. 18,500 comes your pivot in this range here on NQ. Testing now. If offer kind of sticks in this zone, expect lower lows. We can trade through. We can oscillate back to the high of this kind of mini auction in this node that we're putting in and trading in right now. But don't be surprised if we continue to put lower highs in. Underlying still holding a downside structure. It's a big liquidity take on or on NQ, excuse me, and then right back into our 500 pivot. Back into pivot here, NQ. RTY middle of range, no movement, ES. Underlines all still holding downside pivots, no lower lows. First higher low, NQ, and pivot. It's waiting on a higher high, and you'll probably get a strong retest if that occurs. Attempted. That was not much of an attempt, though. This does, if we do see higher highs across the board, I think it's gonna be pretty fast in terms of the candle move, and then just look through retraces back through LVN. See if we can support.
Yo,
Hello.
do you have an Olympic stream, Mario? Any chance?
No. I'm sure I could get. What is it? Is it on Peacock?
Yeah,
Let's see, probably.
yeah, it
I
is.
can probably put one up. I
I
haven't
just
watched
got
any.
the mixed track is on right now, where it's like man, woman, man, woman.
I didn't even know that was a thing.
Yeah.
Hello? Has that always been a thing?
I don't know.
Where's Gav? Gav would know.
Ooh, really nice hold of our RTH 30-second range. Back to this 55. Yikes. Scissor. Is there anything we can shift? What's this?
I don't remember ever, like, even hearing about that.
It looks like we're still rejecting that 15-minute VWAP on NQ. Got sellers who are trapped at those lows, gave us this extended move back up. That looks like green line is our 15 VWAP. And then we have these trapped sellers here. This got wrecked. Looking to see if we can build a higher low or if this traces back down to them. I feel like if we can bid, looking for just the offer into like 73.5 area above. See if I can stream. It's on like every TV lounge area. Go down there and watch. Yeah, it's streamed from down there. It's pretty good TV too. Be worth. Yeah, surf. You're willing.
Yeah, well, I got it up. It's fine. I need to hook up my other monitor. We're running out of monitor room. This is the right one. Yep.
Stream. Just before I get down on.
Worse.
Man, I haven't seen an ad in a minute.
Welcome to the ads. That's about it. That's all I got.
I'm really curious to see like the speed on each one of these like peak male and peak female performance. What's actually like how big of a difference is there?
It really depends on. I wonder how far they're
400,
running.
right?
I do not know.
Team USA is stacked.
Q back down towards that 500 pivot.
The juiced games. That'll be interesting. I wonder how many people will actually do that because it'll ruin their chances for picks. So you're gonna have to have some like big name get in there or like really large prizes because it's gonna invalidate them for every other competition. Like all of the world champions and regional championship. As soon as they test positive once, they now have a history.
I drop link. No, hello.
I think some are banned for life. Some are not. Just depends. I think for the Olympics you are.
The link to the Peacock, buddy.
He wants the login information.
Have you tried peacocktv.com? Have you tried Google? Drop the link. Hello? If you have login info, what? But I am so confused. That's like me asking if you could drop the link to Netflix.
Can you?
Yeah, can someone drop me the netflix.com link? I'm too lazy to type out 7 letters.
How do you? I don't know if you can.
Yeah, well, it's all like I don't think so. I mean, it'll be like we're in different regions and I feel like it's here, whatever. I don't believe you.
All I'm looking for here, guys, at the lows, I don't know what Mario covered, but I just want to see these acceptance below. Oh, I need to stop trying to. Below this 90 to 82.75, we need to see a strong seller here, or I just expect buyers to absorb as we push down into this. If we can, and we see a sell, I expect full action down to value. You are
Yeah, that was like what 47
Yeah,
that you're
yeah.
looking at? Yeah, that was basically the same thing I called. And just using 500 in this range as a pivot. And then you have really good structure, so.
What I'm saying, Sauce. They usually show it in meters as an overlay on top.
like a foot taller than everyone else, Dubs. They got the stride advantage.
Okay. This is where we either see buyers absorb, or we'll see a pretty quick flex below. Looking for a look below this 80 and an off. I expect absorb here. $50 until new 15s. The posture difference between first and second there was crazy. $15 until new 15s at our 83 now. New 15s opening. Really important that buyers are able to absorb here, or the offer is going to really slam us down at like 40 or 50 below. You want bids to get over 90, or that's where your stop should be for shorts for rotation down. Any bid can hold. I'll be looking for upside. Really important that sell side can develop out below this. Really nice retest on ES. I think that's probably the clean. We can hold POC as resistance down to value low. Problem is that we're mixed with Russell holding too. Really watching this on ES to so.
Taco John's ad? Man, I haven't had Taco John's in so long. That sounds so good.
Probably pretty solid hold of 3 on bid. Again, you need to see these higher lows sustain. And ES needs to get back over POC, or POC is resistance. I've never even heard of Taco.
You've never heard of Taco John's? What?
Is that
Need to-
Midwest?
Yeah, they're everywhere here. The best they is their potato lays. It's like a tater tot, but it's like flat.
Hmm.
You go get tacos at Taco Bell, and then you go get the lays at Taco John's. That's the way to do it. RTY still maintaining higher lows here with these node rotations and QES.
Says there are plans to open 10 locations in Cleveland.
Mm. Do you have Long John Silver's there?
We have like 2 of them.
It's the same company. So like all of the, well not all, but most of the time, like the building is like split. It's like half a Taco John's, half a Long John Silver's. At least it used to be. That's something I could never get behind. Like fast food fish, no.
Yeah.
Sorry, not, nope.
Get that.
I think Cane's is the best fried food or fast food chicken there is, Dubs.
You have the same opinion if you weren't able to eat sauce.
Maybe. I think their chicken's pretty good, but the sauce definitely carries. There's like Pollo Campero is really good as well. They have good chicken.
I always find that Cane's is like fried well, but it's not seasoned. At least the ones I go to. It's just like
Yeah, it's
salt.
I feel like it's either or kind of situation.
I feel very
Zaxby's.
similar about Zaxby's scallops.
I've never heard of Zaxby's.
It's basically just Cane's.
Okay.
Like the same sauce, same everything. Bread with the order. Andy's. It's been a really long time since I've had Zaxby's. Russell's going to determine which would we go. Continues to maintain these lower highs and just channeling down, looking for a breach of day open. We're watching for Russell to be able to bid basically any sort of side. See that push. It's going to be, I think, a very violent area. Break. Re-offering here on NQ. Yes, still. See. Oh, unlucky. Proving like that at the Olympic has to just be devastating. Like, oof. Especially in a team event.
What a name she has.
Everyone in the world. Yeah. Make a sandwich.
Wow, Dubs, that is revolutionary. You should name that item a chicken sandwich. I think it'd really take off. Just a suggestion.
Yeah, what other
Yeah,
bread do they
yeah.
have?
I think you can actually get sandwiches there, but yes, Dubs, I understand, but still, chicken and bread is still whatever. It's one of those days. You guys are. Maybe I'm the one who's off the rocker today. Maybe it's me.
I thought that was just normal because they give you bread with it. What else are you gonna do? Dip your bread into sauce? Nah.
That's also good.
Put a tendy
I'm
on that.
just gonna say.
Might as well make a sandwich. They've given you the materials, you know?
You put the fries in it too, Dubs? Yeah, okay, alright. You did it properly then, at least.
Why are there commercials every 3 minutes?
That's a little ridiculous. I get it because they have to, like, do something in between the,
Crazy.
like, events, so they're not just standing there, but this is more commercial than event, for sure.
You have to watch it ad when you fast forward. What?
Peacock is really bad. It's the worst.
Wrong.
It's bad.
This target here on NQ, first target off the rejection and push down. About halfway through to PT here on ES. Still think we can do the full rotation. Really want to watch how we react into our low here on the Russell into 14. We can see, I think, a bid stepping in this LV. Keep that in mind. That I think it's like 41 edge on ES, and then we might have a secondary move down. Watching this edge here, especially with NQ at PT. Watch as we retest our value edge here. See if we reject for a continuation down. If this rejection happens, I think below 44s on NQ, we can look for that like 4. But we need to see if buyers are still present. This is why this is that first PT.
We talked a lot about underlines earlier, so Tesla did put a lower low in with this NQ move, and Nvidia came off of VWAP into POC. Microsoft still maintaining range, and Apple still supporting breakout. But yesterday, there's a lot of moves where Tesla was trading with NQ. It's kind of like realigned itself how it used to trade. Interesting, but worth noting.
Back to our offer here on NQ. So you have to be very careful now, guys, with this look below into target here on NQ. If we're able to hold range now on this read for a pop over this 90, and then you can get a new guys who are potentially offsides here. For sell side, I need to see this like 52 to 40 offer down. Expect this to now have basically people trapped to this low, and then we look for a secondary move, a hold of our previous sellers. As of right now, this is just mixed. There's nothing watching to see if we can now hold value, our value edge on NQ support.